Apologies, Mr. Morrow and colleagues. I've been chasing other committees, so I might have missed. If some of the stuff I'm about to put to you is already on the transcript, just let me know, and I'm happy to roll forward. I've got a couple of general questions and then one specific one, which go to the user satisfaction surveys that NBN-Co undertakes. I think these might have been traversed briefly early. That you've identified that the satisfaction levels of your users for fibre to the premise and fibre to the node were approximately the same and have a user satisfaction survey score of 7.7 out of 10. Is that so far?
That is correct. Yes.
So far, so good. Yes. Did you address that in your opening statement?
We did, Senator, in terms of the announcement of that, and then there were several questions that were asked about the details behind it.
All right, great. So maybe I'll just go straight to the specific. How long have you been conducting these user satisfaction surveys?
This was conducted late last year, and it was the first of many to come. And that was
the first
early on in
done
terms of the deployment. We'll have many more that we're going to follow up with.
Okay. But that's the first time that you've done that?
Yes, for FTTN.
Okay. What other kinds of access technology have you surveyed in the past?
FTTP and fixed wireless.
Okay. So the only time, the reason that it's the first time you've surveyed on FTTN is that it's the first time you've got enough of a customer base to make it worth asking the questions.
Statistically valid sample.
Can you either table for us or point to us on your website where we can find a breakdown of the user satisfaction scores for the last 3 years based on access technology?
I don't think it would have been published on the website. I can take it on notice to provide that to you.
I appreciate it. So based on fibre to the node, so this is year one, so it's useful. Fibre to the basement, when did you start asking people about that?
That was also included in that same trial.
First time?
Yes.
And fibre to the premises, presumably you've got 2 or 3 years of survey data on that?
That should be correct, yes.
Because that was what you inherited, a small customer base on FTTP?
Correct.
Okay. Any other access technology? Are you surveying people on your satellite or wireless solutions?
The wireless, we are. That one has an 8.1 out of 10 rating.
8.1?
That's one of our
highest. People were just happy to have something?
They are happy to have that service.
Okay. So anything you can provide us that's that kind of longitudinal, broken out by access technology, that'd be valuable. So the user satisfaction scores you've just identified, fibre to the basement was 8.4. That was from February of 2015. You recorded 8.4 for fibre to the basement. But in February of this year, the combined user satisfaction score for fibre to the node and fibre to the basement was 7.7. It's actually dropped quite a bit. So what's your take on why the scores have dropped?
I think we're mixing apples and oranges there, Senator.
Okay.
I think in the QON, the question on notice that we'll take, we'll clarify. Remember, there is a installation experience satisfaction score, and then there's an actual use of the product satisfaction score. So we'll provide all of that in the breakdown for you.
Yeah, good. That's as much as you're able to disaggregate. When you're doing your user satisfaction surveys, do you disaggregate fibre to the node and fibre to the basement?
We do know which is which within, but we lump together in that score the combination of the both.
How come? I mean, like your users might not know, your users might not care, but I would presume it would be important for the company to know.
Oh, indeed. So what we look at, remember that it's basically the same kind of technology, and we're trying to get a feel for our people satisfied when they have, last 50 meters of copper that they're using.
But if it's in the basement, it might be the last dozen metres, whereas if it's a node, then it might be 500 metres down the street.
It might be the last 50 in the basement, it might be the last 500 on the fibre to the node. But again, that's what we're looking at from a service point of view, and we feel quite confident with the sample size that we have. Admittedly, it's early and small, and that's why we'll continue to do this over the coming months.
Can you de-lump those numbers for us?
I should be able to. We'll take that on notice.
I would have thought so. Thank you. I believe also, mainly because I just had one eye to Twitter, that we've had some discussion thus far about digging up people's rose bushes and driveways. Is that true?
There was a discussion from Senator O'Neill.
There was.
About a node that was put within the space of the driveway.
Okay. Yeah. What an atrocity. All right, I want to go to the general principle rather than an individual's driveway, but you've made public comments, Mr. Morrow, to the effect that the general public will obviously prefer a fibre to the node build, as NBN-Co is not going to need to be digging up driveways and people's gardens and so on.
To be correct, it is that they are happier that we're not out there digging their driveways up, and they would prefer that we didn't.
Okay, so I'm presuming you can confirm for us, unless the technology has changed since the last time I asked these sorts of questions, that a fibre to the premises fibre distribution hub does not require mains power, it's a passive unit.
No, you need power, so they're in the
Fibre to the premise distribution hub, FTTP.
Fiber to the premise, the fiber distribution hub does not require electrical power, that's right.
It's a passive unit. Whereas your nodes do require, the node cabinet does require mains power.
That is correct.
All right, so step us through this. Is NBN Co able to meet all the required standards and regs while using a directional horizontal boring machine or similar machine, however you're installing these things? I haven't actually seen it done. To bore underground from the cabinet site to the mains connection point, or are you actually going to need to do a fair bit of trenching to get these nodes hooked up to the mains?
I would have to take that on notice. I assume it's a combination of both of those approaches to be able to run the power cable.
So it's not actually that you're not going to be digging stuff up. You're going to need to dig up quite a bit of stuff. And on a fibre to the premises model, you'd have potentially been doing a lot less trenching because the nodes are
on fiber to the premise, digging up someone's driveway. We do not dig up somebody's driveway. Typically, when we're extending the node to the pillar that's on the corner of the street. So, and we're happy to, if you want to actually take you out and show you a couple of these sites so you could see them. But they're typically in the footpath area that's in the front of somebody's home, but not necessarily within the driveway, nor is it typically going on anybody's property. That was the major frustration of fiber to the prem, of digging up their gardens, their driveways, their reaching into their backyards.
And I guess my point is you're going to need to be doing a fair bit of that to get these nodes connected up to the mains power.
No, and remember, there is 150 homes to a node. We're only putting in a very short trench to be able to get from the node to the pillar, and we don't touch anything else. That's a one-time element for 150 homes, where if we were doing fiber to the prem, we'd be digging up 150 driveways to get there, let alone to be able to get out to make sure that the fiber can make it to the footpath that's in the front.
Hang on, are you stating that for every premise that you're hooking up to an N10 fibre connection, you need to dig up the driveway?
For fiber to the premise, yes, that was the plan.
To dig up?
It would almost inevitably be a dig up of some sort, augering through, trying to pull the cable across. There was a lot of construction for the majority of those homes.
Huh. How many complaints have you had? And is that something that you survey as part of your survey work of people who are unhappy with people trenching to connect the network to their premise?
I would have to take that on notice. I did not want in the readouts of the management team to me and the executive committee that never came up as a major issue.
Okay. Never came up as a major issue?
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, anything you can provide, whether it's a part of the survey or your regular complaints process, or whether that sort of thing gets directed to the RSP. I've got a bit of good news for you, and I know good news is in very short supply and late night estimates committees, but last time I raised with you a constituent in Kensington in Melbourne. This very specific case of somebody who was stuck on a pair gain and was told he wouldn't be delivered broadband for the next 500 years, and you've gone out and you've fixed it and you've got him off of that system, and he's actually a very satisfied constituent. So I just wanted to pass back, because I know you probably hear a lot of complaints. There was one satisfied customer out there. No, it wasn't Fifield. I'm not here to advocate on behalf of people who can look after their own interests. But anyway, between NBN Co and Telstra, you fixed this guy's house, and I appreciate it. So now I'm going to try it on again and see if we can score 2 for 2. And probably not by coincidence, again, it's somebody in the Kensington Exchange. This is 3 kilometres from Melbourne CBD. And we're just wondering whether it's a great time to be alive if you're in the Kensington Exchange. Because this is 2 for 2. He's been trying for more than a year with multiple service providers to get ADSL because the exchange is full while they're waiting for... and 10B, excuse me, it is late. Telstra are basically saying they're not going to put any more ports on the sub-exchange because they're waiting for you guys to roll past. Now, what do we do with these folks? Because they're being told they have to wait till 2018 until they can get broadband.
No, it's a very unfortunate situation, Senator. NBN has nothing to do with Telstra or the other providers of DSL service to get them to invest into more ports until NBN can run by and provide that high-speed service. So unfortunately for us, it is, we try to prioritize against the government direction of the underserved areas, and we are accomplishing that on a proportionate basis. And then it is the speed of the rollout to get to as many people as we can.
So this fella is now paying $190 a month for his mobile contract. Do we have to go back to him and say that neither Telstra nor NBN Co can help him until 2018 and he's stuck on a mobile contract for the next 3 years?
NBN could answer in terms of the NBN help, and right now there would be nothing that we can do other than what's in the rollout plan.
I certainly wouldn't ask you to speak for Telstra. Is the Kensington Exchange in your rollout plan? Do you have any idea how many people might be stranded under similar circumstances? And I'm having a strong feeling of deja vu as I'm putting that question to you.
I'm sure the Kensington Exchange is in the program. Every area within the country is, and I'm not aware of how many people are trying to get ports that cannot on the DSL.
Could you get a read for us as to how far away you think your teams are from that particular exchange? Telstra's telling them 2018, but I'd rather hear it directly from you.
All right, we'll take that on notice to find out.
Yeah, if you could. These guys are 3 kilometres from the CBD of Australia's second largest city. And it's not that they have a slow connection, they have no connection at all.
Right.
Anything you can do, I can provide you with a little bit more specific information on notice if that would assist.
Yeah, please.
And maybe we'll have another little celebration in May.
Great.
Thanks, Mr. Morrow.
That's it. Thank you. So